UFC 310 full card predictions. I had posted a video doing UFC 310 main card predictions, but the whole card has been confirmed as of this moment. I'll be breaking down the card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. And let's hop right into it. I'm Remy from the script. Let's do these full card prediction breakdowns. Starting off with the first fight of the night, we have Kennedy versus Lucas. And I'm going to make this one simple. Kennedy's coming in on short notice, and he looked good against Chris Barnett. He got the KO victory. And yeah, Lucas is not really impressive. He's in his last 5 fights, he's only won one. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He's not really looking impressive. And just in my opinion, I don't really know what else to say. Lucas is not looking impressive. Kennedy, although he is really a lightweight, he's pretty skinny for the heavyweight at only 241. He's moving up in weight. He's pretty decent. I just have him. He has the reach advantage everywhere. He's pretty tall for heavyweight, 6'5". I got Kennedy winning by KO. And yeah, the odds just speak for themselves. Moving on up the card, we have Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper, Austin Reeves, whatever you want to call him. For those that follow basketball, you know what I'm talking about. Chase Hooper's a good prospect. Young, talented. Clay Guida, after 2011, he's been 9-13 in the UFC. And he's 7-6 when the fight goes to the distance. And he's been subbed a few times already. On the other hand, Chase Hooper, he's a prospect. He wins usually by finishes. And just Clay Guida is inactive. This seems like an alley-oop for Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper just keeps on looking more impressive. He's on a 3-fight win streak, and he usually is able to get the finish. So, in my opinion, I feel like this is like a no-brainer. And low-key an alley-oop for Chase Hooper. So people, the casuals, oh my God, Chase Hooper's. But just look at it. He has the height advantage. He's talented. He looks like a good kid. You know what I'm talking about? He looks like Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves looks like a good kid. You know what I mean? But all seriousness, Chase Hooper will most likely be able to get this one done. And in my opinion, it's either by submission or a decision. But I would probably lean towards for him to win inside the distance. Moving on up the card, and Clay Guida is not even active, man, and the odds show that you guys are not going to get really any value out of this. He's a minus almost 1,200, but I believe he opened up at a minus like 600. Then we have Michael Chiesa. As you guys know, he was the underdog of the week, and he still is the underdog of the week. Get in while you can. He opened up at a plus 130. He's at a plus 105 right now. I don't know what you guys are waiting for. Come fight day, wouldn't be surprised if these odds flipped and he would be the favorite. Once I seen this, I was just like, yeah, Michael Chiesa should not be the dog. But he's coming off that win against Tony Ferguson. Not really a good flex. Tony's on an insane losing streak, and the only reason he's still in the UFC is because he's like Tony Ferguson. For those who do not know Tony, he was one of the greatest runs as a lightweight. But we have Michael Chiesa. He's 19-7. Both these guys have similar builds and reach, but Michael Chiesa has the 2 inches of height advantage. And Michael Chiesa, he has 12 finishes in the UFC. He's been finished mainly through submissions. And he's 4-3 against strikers. Max Griffin is a striker. And he usually finishes by sub in the second round. And he's 5-1 when it goes to the decision. Max Griffin, he's 20-10. Finished once due to doctor stoppage. He's usually going to the decision. He's a hard guy to finish. He's 8-8 in the UFC, and he's 5-7 in decision wins. Last 5 went to decision, and a few of them were split. In my opinion, this is a no-brainer. I have Michael Chiesa. I was honestly surprised he opened up as the dog. He's not even old. I believe he's 36. Max Griffin, I believe he's like 38. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how Max Griffin was the favorite. I feel like Michael Chiesa might not have the advantage on the feet, but he's a tough dude. And he does have that wrestling and grappling advantage. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a sub. The pick will be Michael Chiesa. And now we're moving on up the card. Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. Joshua Van was in UFC 306. He was in the UFC Sphere card. And that fight was a banger of a fight. If you guys watched, I believe he was in the prelims. Man, that was a dog fight. He's versing Cody Durden. Cody's 17-6, and his losses usually come by finishes. He's been finished 5 times, and he has 3 wins in his last 5 fights in the UFC. 2 being decision and 1 being submission. He usually loses by subs. He usually loses by finishes. And Joshua Van, majority of his wins come by finish, and his 2 losses come by finishes. I wouldn't expect this one to go the distance, in my opinion. It can go the distance. Would I be surprised if it went the distance? No, but I don't really see this going the distance. Both these guys are just finishers. If Joshua Van's gonna win, I see him getting a finish. But sometimes you just never know. You think something's gonna happen, it doesn't. But I see Joshua Van being able to get a finish, maybe second round, early third. I don't really see Cody winning this, to be honest. Although he's decent with submissions. Joshua Van isn't a bum on the ground. We've seen him getting a little tangles in the ground in UFC 306 on the Sphere card. But I believe in Joshua Van, man. He came in on short notice against that guy, I believe, and he seemed like he was doing pretty okay. So I have Joshua Van winning this. And yeah, in my opinion, I feel like it's a little bit of a no-brainer in my opinion. Joshua Van, I feel like he has the advantage on the feet, but it's going to be a good fight nonetheless. Moving on up the card, Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. Yeah, this is going to be a snooze fest. Apparently, Chris Weidman's mad that the UFC didn't pay him. Where's my money? Because he wants to show money from the UFC. Listen, that's beyond me, but I don't think Chris Weidman's going to win this. As you can see, the odds, this is a coin flip fight, and I'm leaning towards Eric Anders, to be honest. Chris Weidman's 40, man. These guys have similar records. They're both 3-2 in their last 5 fights. But I believe Eric Anders will probably be able to get a finish. He's 8-8 in the UFC. He's 16-8. He has 10 finishes, and he's been finished twice. Chris Weidman, 12-7 in the UFC. 6-7 were by KO, and he's 40 years old. And he's 3-4 against strikers. Those 4 being losses. He's coming off a decision win against Bruno Silva. But I think he probably gets chinned here. I'm not really like a believer in when fighters are 40. There's only some exceptions in the UFC that are really nasty at 40 years old, man. There's only a few exceptions that are nasty at 40 years old. And no disrespect, but one of them is not Chris Weidman. I have Eric Anders. Wouldn't be surprised if Weidman gets chinned. Doesn't have a good chin. Out of 7 of his losses, 6 of them were by KO. Wouldn't be surprised if Eric Anders got this one done. But I wouldn't bet on this fight if I were you guys. This is just really a coin flip fight. Eric Anders has been submitted before. No, he hasn't. I'm lying. He's 3-0 against grapplers. But I just don't feel confident in this. He's 4-6 when it goes to decision. So if it does go to decision, we could lean a little bit towards Chris. But I'm just not confident in this fight at all. I wouldn't bet this, but I would lean towards Anders. Moving on up the card. Did you really think the Butcher was gonna lose in a fist fight to a French dude? Bryan Battle coming off of that insane post-fight interview in Paris. Walked out to niggas, you know what I'm saying, in Paris. Listen, man. I'm going Bryan Battle off the rip. Bryan Battle's on the Glaze list in this channel. There's a few fighters you guys will see that are just on the Glaze list for this channel. One of them 100% being Bryan Battle. You know, you got the Pirate on that list. There's a couple fighters that are just instant glaze when they're about to fight. Randy Brown, he's no bum though. And these odds shouldn't be what they are right now. I believe Bryan Battle is like a -170 favorite. He was about the same for his last fight, but listen, man, I wouldn't count out Randy Brown. Randy Brown is 19-5. He has 12 finishes, and he's been finished 4 times. He's 13-5 in the UFC. He's been chinned twice, and he's been submitted twice. And he's chinned people 3 times. He's KO'd people 3 times, and he submitted people 3 times. And he's 7-1 when it goes to the distance. But he hasn't really fought comp. He hasn't really fought crazy comp. He beats up older guys. This will really be a test for him and Bryan Battle. Bryan Battle has fought pretty elite people, though. I will say that. Bryan Battle, 6-1 in the UFC, and that one loss is coming from Renat. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's like some Russian fighter who hasn't lost in like fucking 11 years. Bryan Battle, he's 1-1 in decisions. He's a finisher. And he's 2-0 against strikers. He submitted people 2 times, and he's chinned people 3 times. He's KO'd 3 people. 7 second-round finishes. Bryan Battle is that guy. And honestly, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this fight. The pick will be Bryan Battle. Randy Brown's a tricky guy, though. On the feet, he does have the advantage. He has the reach advantage slightly, and he has he's just a long guy. He has long legs. He'll probably be able to keep Bryan at distance. He's pretty tall for the weight division. He's 6'3" at 170, and yeah, man. The pick will be Bryan Battle, though. The Butcher. Moving on up the card. This fight should not have been in the prelims. There's no shot this fight should have been in the prelims. In my opinion, this fight should have at least been featured prelims, maybe at that, man. Like, you have certain people on the main card. I'm not even trying to be biased. You could have put Bryan Battle as the first, like, as a featured prelim. And, like, what the hell are we doing? Dominic Reyes, Anthony Smith, you could leave that there. But these two, Bryce Mitchell and Kron Gracie versus Nate Landwehr and Dooho Choi, you could have been switched these out for Bryan Battle Mavzar, because those are gonna be some nasty fights. But anyway, back to Mavzar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. This is gonna be a very interesting fight. Mavzar, he does have impressive wins. He has wins over Dan Ige. He has wins over Diego Lopez, although Diego Lopez did come in on short notice. And Diego almost submitted him twice. It's like you cannot submit Mavzar It's almost impossible to submit Mavzar. But I mean, yeah, this guy's a high level wrestler. This is a nightmare matchup for Aljamain Sterling. Don't get me wrong, Sterling is obviously pretty solid. He has good grappling. He trains with Marab, but just because you train with Marab doesn't mean you can just stop every wrestler. Mavzar is really nasty, and it's like you can't even submit the guy. It's like he knows how to get out of submissions. Arnold Allen had him in the ninja choke, got out of that. Diego had him in a knee bar, had him in a Kimura. This guy's just getting out of it. And yeah, man, Aljamain Sterling, I mean, he's not a bum either, though. He defended his belt the most, I believe it said, in bantamweight history. He defended his belt 3 times, split decision twice against Pirian and Henry Cejudo, though. But listen, man, he's not a bum. This is going to be an interesting fight. And he is a solid dog. He's a plus 200 underdog. He's a solid dog. Although Mavzar is undefeated, Aljamain Sterling is a solid dog. And I wouldn't be surprised if he made this a close fight. This fight will be, though, which is why it's probably on the prelims, it might be a snooze fest. Just because Mavzar can't find the finish in the UFC. It's all just been unanimous decisions. And Aljamain Sterling hasn't really got a finish in a little minute. I think his last one was TJ Dillashaw. So yeah, I mean, this will be a good fight, though. Very excited for it. Aljamain Sterling in the featherweight division now. Both these guys are just fucking big ass motherfuckers, bro. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? But I'll have to go Mavzar. Mavzar will be the pick. I think he'll just have the advantage in the wrestling. He'll be able to mix it up a little bit. Moving on up the card. Now we have Themba Gorimbo stepping in on short notice for Nick Diaz. Don't know what's up with Nick Diaz. Like, what the hell? I think they just seen this guy. I don't know if he's into drugs. They just seen him like outside of a stadium. Just, I guess, I don't even know what he was doing. He was outside of a stadium trying to fuck with some twigs. Hopefully he's good. Hopefully Nick Diaz is good. I think I was saying Nate Diaz, but it's Nick Diaz. Yeah. We have Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo. And if I'm being honest, I have Vicente Luque. Reason being, Vicente is 15-5 in the UFC. He's 8-2 in KOs, and he's has 5 subs. His last W in a submission was in 2021. He's 2-3 when it goes to the decision, but he loses to good competition. He loses to Buckley, Bilal, Leon Edwards, people like that. Gorimbo's only 4-1 in the UFC, and he is more of a finisher. And he lost to submission in his UFC debut. I just think Vicente Luque's I just think his experience is gonna get the better of Themba, but I wouldn't be surprised if Themba won. He just has a reach advantage in all aspects, leg reach, wingspan. So I will give the slight edge to Themba, but I think Vicente Luque will get this one done. And he is the dog. That's a pretty solid dog. I have Vicente Luque winning this fight. Now we have Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Smith. Listen, Dominic Reyes gave John Jones a run for his money back in 2020. I don't know what Dominic Reyes we're going to get right now. But Anthony Smith is, I believe he's 11-8 in the UFC, man. He's a decent fighter. I mean, this is going to be a decent fight. I don't know, though. I don't know. I don't have Anthony Smith winning this. The pick will be Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes should honestly win this pretty unanimously, but I just wouldn't be surprised because I mean he's like, I want to say he's the most active fighter. He's not as active as Anthony Smith, and Anthony Smith has faced pretty good competition. He loses to good competition. Let me just, he got destroyed by Khalil Roundtree. I don't know. I honestly feel kind of bad every time he gets knocked out. I don't know why. I feel kind of bad. He's 38-20, has a lot of fight experience, been in a lot of fights. The pick will be Dominic Reyes, though. Moving to the main card. Now, why is this fight on the main card? Can someone please explain that to me? Why is this fight on the main card, man? Do Hao Choi. This guy's nickname is the Korean Superboy, bro. I have Nate knocking this. Nah, imagine. No, but like, all seriousness, though. Nate, moneyline. I mean, Choi's last 5 opponents, his 5th most recent one was in 2016. His 5th most recent opponent was in 2016. I don't know what version of Choi we're going to get. At least Nate, we seen him almost get knocked out in one of his recent fights. Stay alive, get back up, and win in the later rounds. Although he's 36, Choi has the age advantage. He lost to Ige, Herbert Burns, people like that. Choi, man, his 5th fight was in 2016. That was 8 years ago. Is this guy fighting like in his spare time, man? I have Nate winning this, and I just feel like, I don't even know how they have this fight on the main card, to be honest, man. That's just my take on it. Moving on up the card, Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. Another fight. Why do they have this on the main card? What? Because Kron Gracie, he has the last name, the Hoist Gracie last name. Come on, man. Bryce Mitchell's probably gonna win this. And look at the odds, man. He's minus 750. Bryce Mitchell, I'll give him mostly by decision. He's versing a submission or bust type of guy. Kron Gracie only has 5 wins in UFC, and they're all by submission. And he's on a losing streak. He doesn't have good takedown accuracy. Bryce Mitchell will likely be able to mix in the takedowns and avoid the grappling threat of Kron Gracie. But Kron Gracie still is dangerous on his back, so Bryce Mitchell will have to be wary of that. But I think Bryce Mitchell will be able to get this one done by decision. Kron Gracie is literally a submission or bust type of guy. This is MMA, not BJJ, buddy. Moving on up the card, Ciryl Gane versus Volkov. I did say Volkov was a solid underdog, but I'm changing my pick. Ciryl Gane is just nasty on the feet, and I think he'll just be able to get this one done, man. Ciryl Gane is that guy on the feet, and Alexander Volkov isn't shooting no takedowns on Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane's only 2 losses came from Francis Ngannou and John Jones, 2 heavyweight GOATs. Listen, bro, Alexander Volkov, I've seen his recent fight. He's just not that impressive. He's not as impressive as Ciryl Gane on the feet. Like, Ciryl Gane just, his striking, if you want to strike with him, you're going to be in trouble. And for that reason, I just see Ciryl Gane winning this. Moving on up the card. Now we have Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Gary. These odds are too far gone. Like, bro, Shavkat might be, you guys are just overrating him so much, man. Don't get me wrong, he's an amazing fighter. He has 18 fights, 18 finishes. But he's not a minus 400 favorite against Ian Machado Gary, who's also an undefeated fighter. That's actually insane. Like, Ian Gary is not a bum. And if you can even argue, he's fought better comp than Shavkat. They damn near fought the same people, except Ian Machado Gary is actually coming off a win against MVP. And that was a good fight. Ian Gary won that unanimously, but it's in Michael Venom Page. He's giving people that a hard run for their money with that karate style. But listen, man, Shavkat, these odds are too far going. I think Ian Gary is actually an amazing underdog. At plus 300. Listen, I like Shavkat. Shavkat will be the pick in this fight. Let me just make that clear. Shavkat will be the pick in this fight. But the fact that Ian Machado Gary is plus 300, he's a solid dog. I wouldn't bet Ian Machado Gary, but he's a solid dog. He has the height advantage, but I see Ian Gary winning this by decision if Shavkat doesn't submit him. I think if Shavkat's winning, it'd probably be by decision. And Ian Gary, If he wins, he'll probably just be a little more technical on the feet, be able to pepper him in, whatever. He does have decent BJJ, but Shavkat, he'll probably be able to submit him if he messes up, maybe snatches something up in a scramble. Shavkat will be the pick, but if Ian's winning this, I do have him winning by decision. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Moving on up the card. Now we have Alexandra Pantoja versus Kai Sakura. Kai Sakura making his UFC debut for a title shot. And I'm just going to make this quick and simple. Although Kai Sakura is good, although he does have amazing takedown defense, we see him spar Marab. The pick will be Pantoja. I mean, Kai Sakura, although he's able to, he has good takedown defense. We've seen against Marab. He does have amazing striking. Pantoja will most likely win by decision or submission. Pantoja will be able to mix it up. I think he's just a little more well-rounded than Kai Sakura. Pantoja has never been finished, and he's 9-0 against the top 10 UFC flyweights. He's a champ for a reason, and I do have him winning this fight unanimously. He'll probably be able to mix in the takedowns. On the feet, he will be in trouble, though. I will say that Kai Sakura has nasty striking. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Kai Sakura got DQ'd in this fight. He's coming from the people that did Pride in Japan. You could do knees to grounded opponents. You got soccer kicks in that. So just like, man, I wouldn't be surprised if he got DQ'd or he got points taken off on the judges' scorecards. But yeah, I think these odds are accurate. I do believe Pantoja is close to -300 favorite. And yeah, I think it's just also different coming to the UFC and getting a title shot, different pressure. This is the biggest, you could argue, the biggest MMA organization in the world. It is. And just that pressure, especially in the UFC, like a title shot in your first fight in the UFC. It's going to be a little tricky, but the pick will be Pantoja. I am Remy from the script. I just gave you the script. Sign up to the newsletter. Link will be in the description. It helps the channel. You get these picks early. You get all access to our bets, the safety bet, the premium bets. You get access to all of that for $10 a month, $2.50 a card. I mean, that's the best deal you'll ever get. Get the newsletter right to your phone. And that's it. You don't have to watch videos like these for the newsletter. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button. Share this with a friend. And I'm out.